The doctor smiled as he withdrew the examination equipment. I turned my gaze to Boweike, who had accompanied me to the prenatal checkup yet had been on the phone the entire time. Resting a hand on my stomach, I tried to feel the movements of my child beneath my palm. "Doctor, is it still possible to terminate the pregnancy?" The doctor froze, visibly startled. After a moment's hesitation, he spoke cautiously. "Well, it's possible, but it won't be easy. The baby is very healthy, so I'd suggest you think it through carefully." "All right." I didn't want to hear any more of his advice. That day, when I saw the kiss mark on Boweike's neck, I knew. The pain I felt then wasn't imaginary, nor was it just panic caused by pregnancy. Boweike had cheated on me. Later, I carefully examined his scent, and it carried Mia's perfume. Mia, his beta. Whether by design or coincidence, news of Boweike risking his life to save me during the earthquake had spread like wildfire throughout the pack. People praised him as a devoted husband and father, and his reputation soared. Everyone admired him for being a family man. At first, I truly believed he loved me. But now, I knew his heart belonged to someone else. I stood up and walked out of the doctor's office. When Boweike saw me approaching, he quickly hung up his phone and rushed to support me. I glanced at his screen. Mia's name flashed on it. Since I became pregnant, Boweike had accompanied me to every appointment without fail. No matter how busy he was, he always said, "Taking care of Pearl is my top priority." I had been surrounded by his love. But today, something felt different about him. He looked at me apologetically. "Darling, there's an urgent matter at work. I need to step out for a bit. Can you finish the rest of the checkup on your own? I'll come back and pick you up later, okay?" I swallowed the bitterness rising in my throat. Okay. I finished the tests alone and didn't wait for Boweike to return. Instead, I went home by myself. It was already late when he finally came back. He smiled sheepishly and began massaging my legs, while his wolf rolled around the living room, trying to charm me with its antics. I watched his wolf silently for a moment before snapping, "Enough, make it stop." Boweike's expression faltered, but he quickly recovered and wrapped his arms around me. "I'm sorry. Things were more complicated than I expected, and I lost track of time. Next time, I'll make sure to plan ahead. I promise I won't leave you alone again." He coaxed me gently, planting a soft kiss on my cheek. I stared blankly as he made silly faces, trying to make me laugh. But once again, I could smell Mia's scent on him. My stomach twisted violently. I pushed him away and gasped for air, forcing myself to stay composed. "Go wash up. Dinner's ready." Boweike hesitated but then headed to the bathroom, shoulders drooping. Watching his tall, retreating figure, I felt an unshakable sense of distance between us, as if a mountain now stood between us. I was certain of my decision. I couldn't let my child be born into a family poisoned by such twisted love. If this child was destined to grow up without a happy, healthy home, then maybe it would be better if it were never born at all. I picked up my phone and called the doctor. "Doctor, I've made up my mind. I want to terminate the pregnancy. Please schedule the procedure for me." "Thank you." I numbly ate dinner, barely tasting the food. Boweike came into the kitchen and wrapped his arms around me again, whining playfully. "Your cooking is the best." Goosebumps rose on my skin, and my stomach churned harder. This time, I ran straight to the bathroom and threw up. Boweike followed anxiously. "Pearl, what's wrong? Didn't the doctor say everything was fine during the checkup?" I couldn't stop retching until my body finally settled. Collapsing onto the sofa, I ignored his worried questions. After a long silence, he spoke carefully. "Pearl, are you upset about me and Mia?" I could feel it, his betrayal. That piercing, indescribable pain tearing through me was proof of his unfaithfulness. We both knew the truth, yet we chose to avoid it, maintaining a fragile silence. I looked at him, and panic flashed briefly across his face before he lowered his head. I felt utterly drained. "Get me some water." He hurried to fetch it and then lingered by my side, clinging to me before finally going to shower. As the sound of running water echoed from the bathroom, I reached for his phone. His password, my birthday, hadn't changed. I opened his call logs. Half of them were from Mia. Checking their messages, I found nothing suspicious, just work-related conversations. But when I clicked on Mia's social media profile, the first post I saw sent a stab of pain through my chest. Celebrating with Boweike after successfully driving out the rogue invaders from our pack. The photo showed Mia curled up on a couch, holding a glass of red wine. The timestamp was the day of the earthquake. I swallowed the pain in my chest and forced myself to keep reading. A spontaneous trip with Boweike today. Consider it my little reward. Thank you. The picture showed Mia in a bikini, lounging on a famous beach. Boweike really went all out for me. Thank you. I love it. Another post, this time featuring Mia wearing a diamond necklace. Nearly every post in Mia's feed revolved around Boweike. They had traveled to countless places together, shared experiences filled with meaning, and celebrated special moments side by side. Boweike had showered her with gifts. In every picture, Mia's smile brimmed with joy, her eyes overflowing with love. So, this was their secret. Their sweet, hidden life. My heart twisted in agony as I stared at the evidence, unable to tear my eyes away. My trembling hands finally closed the app, but before I could stop myself, I grabbed Boweike's second phone. Opening the chat logs, I found only messages logs with Mia. I read the most recent messages. Mia, you won't ignore me after Pro gives birth, will you? Boweike, of course, not. Mia, you'll still love me like this, right? Boweike, MHM. Mia seemed insecure, and was constantly seeking reassurance. I didn't have the strength to scroll further. The sound of running water in the bathroom stopped abruptly. I set the phone down and dragged myself back to the bedroom. Every step I took felt endless, my stomach heavy and aching. When I finally collapsed onto the bed, my body trembled in silence. Once, I had believed I was the happiest woman alive. I thought I possessed the fullest, most perfect love. But now, I couldn't tell who Boweike's whispered I love you was truly meant for. Thinking back, I should have trusted my instincts the first time I met Mia. She always leaned too close to Boweike, acting as if it was natural. She claimed they were comrades who had fought side by side, survived countless battles, and forged an unbreakable bond. Boweike only smiled, praising Mia for her toughness and courage. He admired her strength, saying she was as fierce as any man. I laughed bitterly to myself. Of course. If I hadn't come between them, they probably would have been together all along. And Mia, the ever-capable Mia, suddenly became helpless when her light bulbs went out, her pipes burst, or her drains clogged. Boweike had rushed to her side every time, insisting, she doesn't know how to handle these things. I had believed him. Like a fool. Boweike came to bed after his shower, dressed in his pajamas. He held me gently, whispering words of love and painting dreams of our future as a family of 3. I listened in silence, numb and detached, all the while thinking, Boweike, I can't trust you anymore. Your lies and your endless closeness to Mia have shattered my heart. That night, I fell into a fever. Boweike panicked, called the doctor, and helped me take medicine. By morning, I woke up parched and got out of bed to find some water. The moment I opened the door, I froze. In the living room, Mia leaned casually against Boweike, typing on her laptop. She pointed at the screen and asked, Boweike, does this part need editing? Boweike leaned in close, speaking softly as he explained. When they finished, Mia smiled at him. Thanks, my alpha. Boweike responded by pressing a kiss to her cheek. I drew in a sharp breath and stepped back, letting the door creak just enough to announce my presence before walking out again. Boweike jumped, pushing Mia away as he rushed toward me. I shook my head. Are you feeling better? Mia stepped toward me, reaching out as if to support me. I sidestepped her touch with practiced ease. Pearl, you gave Boweike such a scare when you suddenly came down with a fever, she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. He didn't even go to the office today, and I had no choice but to come over here. Sorry to disturb. Are you hungry? Boweike bought you some food. Here, which one would you like? Her words buzzed in my ears, but I couldn't miss the diamond necklace glittering at her neck, a necklace that felt like a dagger piercing straight through my chest. The receipt for that necklace was still tucked in the pocket of Boweike's suit jacket. Once, I had believed it was meant for me. But no, here it was, resting around Mia's neck. Nice necklace, I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. Anything is fine for lunch. As soon as I spoke, Boweike looked visibly tense, while Mia's face softened into a sweet, satisfied smile. Boweike cleared his throat. There's an important meeting at the office today. Now that you're awake, why don't you come along? I'd feel better if you weren't home alone. I tried to refuse, but his insistence left me no choice but to agree. Mia, for once, remained silent. Downstairs, Mia was the first to open the car door, sliding into the passenger's seat without hesitation. Pearl, I get car sick, she said lightly, turning back to face me. Can you sit in the back? I looked at Boweike as he reached for the door handle, waiting for him to say something. Instead, he looked caught between guilt and helplessness. Mia's stomach hasn't been feeling great lately. Maybe. I didn't let him finish. Without a word, I pulled open the rear door and got in. The ride was rougher in the back, every bump sending waves of pain through my lower abdomen. Cold sweat trickled down my spine as I gripped the safety handle, trying to steady myself. Meanwhile, Boweike and Mia chatted easily in the front seat, laughing as if I weren't even there. Pearl, you don't look so good. Are you okay? Boweike finally asked at a red light, turning around briefly. I shook my head. I'm fine. That was all it took for him to turn back to Mia, resuming their conversation without a second glance. The scene was almost laughable, if it weren't so heartbreaking. Everyone believed he loved me, but I knew better. His heart had already shifted, making room for someone else. When we arrived, I stepped out of the car and took several deep breaths to steady myself. Ignoring the concern on Boweike's face, I brushed past his outstretched hand and followed him into the building. He left me in a lounge near the conference room. As people passed by, they showered me with compliments. Wow, so that's our Luna. She's gorgeous. She and Alpha Boweike make such a perfect couple. She looks so kind. No wonder they're so in love. I forced a calm smile, my gaze locking with Mia's. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her expression laced with resentment. I slid a freshly brewed coffee toward her. Mia shoved the cup aside and fixed me with a sharp glare. I'm pregnant. Her words hit like a thunderclap. My heart clenched, and my hands trembled so badly I had to dig my nails into my palms to steady myself. Congratulations, I said coolly, my voice barely betraying the storm inside. You should also congratulate me. Mia blinked in confusion. What? I'm getting an abortion. The blood drained from her face as she stared at me, speechless. Ignoring her reaction, I picked up my phone and sent her a file. If you can get Boweike to sign this, then the Luna position is yours. She fumbled to open the document, her eyes widening as realization dawned. Surprise quickly turned to joy. You're serious? She asked breathlessly. Yes. My gaze remained steady. I couldn't tolerate lies or betrayals. And in this marriage, there was no room for a third wheel. Boweike seemed completely unaware of my plans. Over the past few days, he had cared for me as attentively as ever. On the day of the surgery, my mother arrived in person. She held my hand firmly and said, I'll be your strongest support. I'll stay with you through this. Then she added, your brother came back, too. I froze for a moment before forcing a bitter smile. The brother she mentioned was Conrad, my stepbrother, the son of my mother's second mate. He had been my only companion when I was young. My mother was a rare female alpha, and Conrad was the most renowned warrior in the Alara pack. His name alone could strike fear into any territory. Years ago, when I married Boweike and joined his pack, Conrad had been so furious that he cut off all contact with me. We hadn't spoken since. But right now, I didn't have the energy to think about him. My focus was on ending this pregnancy and severing the mate bond with Boweike. Fate, however, always seemed to enjoy playing cruel jokes. At the hospital, my mother and I ran into Boweike and Mia, who were there for a checkup. Through the bustling crowd, my eyes locked with his. Pearl, he called, his voice tinged with disbelief. I saw the shock in his eyes as he gently pushed Mia aside and hurried toward me. He stopped short when he noticed my mother. Mom, what are you doing here? She took one look at the situation and instantly understood what was going on. I'm just here to keep Pearl company, she replied calmly. Oh. But, Pearl, today isn't your checkup day. Boweike quickly pulled out his phone and started scrolling through his notes. I glanced at his screen and felt my heart tighten. Every detail about my pregnancy was recorded: checkup dates, morning sickness patterns, even the timing of fetal movements. The notes were thorough and meticulous. My nose tingled, and tears threatened to fall, but I held them back. I looked at Mia, who stood not far away, and forced a steady voice. "I'm fine. I just came to pick up a report." "Oh, all right." He let out a visible sigh of relief. Then, noticing my gaze shift toward Mia, he quickly explained, "Mia's stomach has been feeling off. I brought her here to get checked." I glanced at the ultrasound report Mia held in her hand, and my throat tightened painfully. "Okay, I'll be going now," I said, turning away abruptly. Before I could break down completely, I grabbed my mother's arm and hurried off. "Wait, honey. I'll take you both home later," Boweike called after me. Without looking back, I answered softly, "All right." Tears streamed down my face as I walked away. "Boweike, you're about to lose me and this child. In life, there are only two choices: live in ignorance and let the world decide your fate, or take control and carve your own path to freedom." Unfortunately, I was never meant to live blindly. In my love, there was no room for a third person. The tenderness and romance that Boweike once reserved solely for me were gone, never to return. Lying on the hospital bed, I was consumed by memories of us, memories that now felt like a cruel illusion. Suddenly, chaos erupted outside the operating room. "Alpha Boweike, you can't go in. She's in the middle of surgery. Get out of my way." Boweike's voice boomed, making my heart freeze. A sharp buzzing filled my ears, and I looked up to see the doctor falter, his hands trembling. I knew immediately, Boweike had used his alpha power to control us. My mother stepped outside and blocked his path. "Boweike, if you cause any more trouble, I won't hold back," she warned, her voice sharp and commanding. "You know our pact doesn't bow to threats. You witnessed our strength the day you married Pearl." Boweike clenched his fists but finally released his hold on everyone. The doctor snapped out of the trance and resumed the procedure. Through the haze of anesthesia, I heard Boweike's desperate voice echoing from the hallway. "Pearl! Pearl!" He sounded frantic, like a man on the brink of